Hey everybody, Tin Man, how you doing? Let's set us up a little bit here. You see across on the other side there? That's where we were the last couple days. Like that's where I've put up a couple of my videos from. Is across there, so I'm going to do a little zoom for us, and I'll show you kind of our layout, what we were like over there. Just wanted to see if I could balance this. Oh, brother, is that all the way? No. I think that's all the way. So, say somewhere right about center now. You kind of see that white strip? That's actually a water reservoir. So when I talk about, I park not too far from there. Right center is where the water reservoir is, almost kind of down from where that major big drop is at the top, from the top down. The slope there, the 45-degree angle kind of slope on the mountain. Anyways, and we walked up into the thick of it in there. So there's the water reservoir area, and there's the thick of it where we were. And then today, I think this might be the road we came down today. So I think we were hanging around, which you haven't seen yet. Well, yeah, the live then was off at the face of this, in this area here, I believe. So, or no, I would say more in this area here. Something like that. Anyways, this area obviously is just area where they come into and such. You know, to do their duties, their worldly duties. Everybody will start really. That's the big thing that's going to grow here. Whoops. I'm going to just set you up on a good stand here. That's the thing that's going to help us really understand what's going on. Is what was I going to say there? You know, I lost my thought there. I'm not going to worry about it. But I just thought this would be cool for a bit of a live. See where we've been. Like this. I choose the wrong way every time, I believe. I don't understand why it jumps open as soon as I touch it. So that was, yeah, that was the side I was hanging out in the last couple of days. Where I'm staying is way back, way at the end of the lake, more or less. And then it's got a couple of arms that shoot off different ways. Hey, Rob, how's it going? Yeah, great view, eh? And yeah, I'm just, you guys want to just, like, for an example, look at this cliff right here. This isn't a way that we are, our guys, our construction road builders and stuff leave roadside cliffs. They don't leave them with overhangs like that. You see those overhangs? You see how much that's overhanging there? That's overhanging a couple of feet. Look at this one right here. Oops, sorry, rotate device. I keep forgetting. I forgot. I'm gonna adjust my wand, my stick. And so what I want you to really realize is we don't do that. It's a big safety hazard. It just doesn't make sense. It's silly, right? Well, where is the broken rock that has fallen? Do you guys think that us out here in Canada are that rich where we'll come and collect this rock that obviously is coming down? If you actually start to watch look in the age of it, you'll see it. Next thing you know, this one's going to be coming down probably, and you can see that how It's almost like that, whoops, that one there's being jimmied out this way a little bit and such like that. That's not normal tremors of the world. And we're not coming by and doing a bunch of cleanup. They leave a few pieces around just to look like this and that. Some cases they'll leave a lot of it. Some cases they want to take it away. Some cases they don't want to leave any evidence. Anyway, so my point was, we're going to worry about cleaning up a little bit of roadside rock that's laying in the ditch and not keep our roads healthier. Which is, this is a cause from them too. I'm pretty sure, guys, that we're going to end up finding out that they just pick at this rock. And picking, you know, if you could do it enough in a straight line, it looks like a crack. So right here, see how all this is being worn back, even through the rooting of it and stuff? Like, who here has ever pulled out a root or anything like that, right? So, you know, that stuff in there is bound very good until you start picking away at it and wiggling rocks, pulling them out. You can kind of see, like, why is there not any dirt? Like, the thing's been there for whatever years. Did all of that stuff do a little bit of a shift so the dirt came out from in between there? You know, like, there are many signs. So lots of times what you see is you see a bank, I don't know if we see it where it's pretty tidy and full. So down here we see it where it's pretty tidy and full like that, you know, where there's a fair amount of stuff in it, right? Well, then when you start watching your bank, you see it in the progressions of this to that. And what is really going to happen after that? I don't know, because they get very busy bringing so much of this still to that. But there's nothing other than that behind there. So, you know, veins of dirt and rock and whatever. So here we are, Lakeshore Home and Building Lots. There's a lot just down here. I was just looking at it. It's down here on the water. $1.9 million, 9.5, so pretty much $2 million. I don't know if it's this one right here. There's one just down here. Oh, there's a couple down there. But it's a nice little bungalow for $2 million. So if anybody's interested, I can probably set you up with Priscilla. Yeah. So let's get some of this gorgeous sunset, guys. Can't miss any of that, can we? Look at that tree right here. I mean, they look like these are wicked storm trees. Wouldn't you guys think there's hard-ass storms here? No. No, it's a lie. Yeah. We might have somebody watching for us up here. You never know. See, that's what I talk about. You know, for super eyesight, a keenness, a worry about hiding, wondering, suspicious about certain characters. I guess that worked, eh? Yeah. That can be, what am I trying to say there? That could be, you know, that's what they're going to be up to. So I go up into these places, I look at their rock, you know, I pry at some pieces and stuff. Hey, Bigfoot Memphis. Sorry, yeah, that stupid zoom. Yeah, actually the rock face is flat. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, they'll make it flat or they'll have it on a little bit of a slope or whatever, eh, Rob? Only 2 mil. What? Only $2 million you got to invest in Tim, man? Oh, okay. 2 million, that should get us going. I don't mind taking on a partner. Look at that, good trail, eh? You know, and deer won't really do that much. You know, and the other thing about it, look at how much of the other bank has deteriorated like that. And this one here gets to stay like a nice trail. Simple things like this, especially in a spot like this, why not? Right? Simple things like that, when your house is right there and Frank's house is right here, they will maybe not build it quite so sticking out like a sore thumb. Yeah, I just happened to look over here. Look at the size of the frickin' rock that is missing from here. Like, look at this. Pull out that, and all of a sudden the whole thing goes tumbling down there. Save me. Yeah. So Memphis, that's where I was hanging out the last couple of days, trying to get some measurement of action over there. And you know the coolest thing that I found, me and my son together, and he got into it very well on observing. Let's just see if there's a weed like it. There's not quite a weed like it, so let's me just make a weed. Do the same thing. The day before when I went up there just on my own, I had noticed this scuffing on the road like this. And I noticed a couple of them. And last year, I think I had noticed those too. I noticed a couple like that. When I noticed them, I decided that day that I wasn't going to just I wasn't going to pay attention to them. So I continued on with my walk. So now that that was in my thought, I don't know how many I might have just naturally overlooked. But when me and my son came back, there was a ton of them. And so I was very suspicious if that was one of the things they chose to come and do that one night while I was gone. Anyways, so basically, am I zoomed back? I think I'm zoomed back. I'm going to do this. Bloop. Basically, they were bushy weeds. You know, and they're all sloped over like this, but they're accumulated in a bit of a thing like this or whatever. They're bushy. Anyways, and that's how they're doing them. They're doing them with this. And the cool thing about it, like I said to my son, because, you know, so in other words, they're doing that and they're getting that round out of it, right? One of the cool things about it is it's actually a roadway. If you've seen those videos, it's actually a roadway to where it was happening. And on this side, it made the semicircle this way. And on this side, it made the semicircle. So both of them were making the semicircle into the road in their pattern from either side of the road, which makes it really cool. You know, because it totally takes it away from some person just trying to blame it on a weather kind of a thing. And yeah. And so that 17-year-old son is, you know, it's a heavy load for a little young guy to try to carry conversation much about it and so on and so forth, but he understands that there's a door that's been opened there and there's a lot of information that's going on now. A lot of life stories we're going to get out of this. A lot of science. And how we understand science right now is just going to get blown away. It really is. In a lot of ways. Not just in the so-called tree thing. Not just in the surprising nature of landslides and rock problems. But I think hugely in the ecosystem, because I think our science has a little bit of an, you know, misguided and not really understood. This is interesting. I'll show you in a second. They're not really understood on dirt. It's how it came into the earth, part of it. Like, when did it come? There's different questions. I don't know exactly. I'm not that guy. But I know there's some confusion. And this is where they're going to get this answer, because that's what these guys are doing. They're accumulating, what do you call it? Like just composting, kind of like, so they do a lot of composting with the trees. So a lot of this damage we see in the trees is because they're trying to say, well, we're damaging the trees. They're part of a system. Don't pay attention. Some trees they'll leave nice and stuff like that. But many of them are eventually break off a couple of branches, throw them down into the compost. The leaving trees have started to produce a lot more leaves, and that's a trick of the trade that they figured out how to get what I call the sucker system. you know, and and leaves and stuff have come in much heavier. So let's just take a look here. A couple of cars going by. So you see this? See that water runoff? Where did it come from? What do you see? You see a big creek here or something like that? If we think about how rain is, if we had a couple of showers, this is what the rain's going to do for sure. If there is something to be able to catch a little bit of a puddle or whatever, then we could start getting into this. My point is this one might be a real one somehow, but I have contributed a lot of them as fakes. They're just part of the make those marks. And I'll tell you how they can really be wicked is just say this is a new subdivision in here. So I just came in here and I used my excavator and I just dug out this wall here or whatever just for this 200 feet. And it's all really nice and dirt and stuff like that. Well, they'll come in when they feel like it. And instead of necessarily doing a little etch one like that, they'll do great big ones and come back for repeat visits. And as you're driving by, like I've done this where, you know me, I measure a lot of the stuff by just watching it and stuff. And I've come by and I've seen a couple of them just grow into these things that were probably, or maybe 2 or 3 dump truck loads of dirt kind of made to look like it was the flow. And I watched up on top and there was no huge puddle forming ever. So, and the guys who built it did all the construction there and all the dirt moving. Basically what they did was just hauled away a huge amount of soil and it created the bank in that particular place. So look at right here. So this is where we get to see a bunch of picking and stuff going on. Because if you look at this pretty good and you start to see a lot of this stuff and then you don't see it at other spots and stuff, you kind of try to figure what's going on, because obviously while they're working, they're cleaning. Obviously, I tell that all the time, that they'll be knocking out a bunch of the rocks, but the rocks aren't necessarily here. But look, we do got a bit more here, so let's look here. Even down here, we got a few more chunks. And this is 100% their behavior. Do I have a full understanding of, it's confusing. I don't want to go there with my mind. I just started to confuse myself of trying to pull in a picture of what these things must be. So let's just do this. I'm going to cross the street. I'm going to swing this around like that so you don't have to look at my ugly mug. Loving my new car compared to my old car. It's a lot more comfortable, and the fuel mileage, the mileage on it, that's the part that I kind of like the most, because it feels like low amount of power and a low amount of energy, so I like it. Where are you? What was that out there? There's somebody flying down there too. I think it's a osprey. Who's making this noise here? Guys, got to watch my live from earlier today. I was hanging out with the deer for a while there, Rob, and whoever's out there. Mark. Kind of interesting, that little bit of a... Okay, he's down low. I think it is the osprey. I think that is osprey language. So that maybe the nest is just down here. Yeah, okay. I always love it when they you kind of change your positioning or something, and the noise completely changes or stops. There you go. Make your noise. See some yellow ribbon there. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna check and see who's in the house. Rob. Okay, Rob offered me $2 million. That's all right. You never know what you will see high up in the treetops. That's right. Are out in the woods. Look up there. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. But hard to see, hard to try to, put your mind into that deep of a focus all the time and such. You know what I'm talking about, Rob? I'm trying to have myself a little coffee break, and I just keep trying to think, well, there might be a better shot. Let's do this for a little bit and look at the onlookers from behind. Is that all right? Is that working? Is that going to stand? Are you going to tick me off? There we go. I think I'm going to have it now. There we go. And how about if I do some theatrics? But I want to tip that a little bit more. Don't waste so much of this early. There we go. But you got to I've been studying my camera and stuff, and I got to make sure that I don't bring it up too high, because then I bring in too much of a flashy, bright color, and it takes away from there. So probably about there is one of the best ways I can do it. I'm going to go touch like that. And I'm going to take my little bit of break off camera a little bit. And then I will be back into camera. But before that, I'm going to show you guys the property that you might be interested in. For $2 million. Maybe I shouldn't too much. Yeah, that'll be right. There we go. So if you guys want to spend a couple of mil, just let me know. I'll hook you up. Evidently, my profession. I call myself Bigfoot real estate. Okay, don't fall down. you, buddy? Where are you? Come here. Come here, cheetah. I'm trying to remember. Isn't that Tarzan's chintz name? Is it Cheetah? No, it's not Cheetah. Man, don't tell me I'm going to forget my Tarzan lingo. Did you guys hear that? I guess you did, eh? It's coming from right over here. Are you hiding? I wasn't measuring it to be in there. Kind of getting it further down here, and I really felt it was off of this side, and it wasn't necessarily. It could be kind of being set out from here. If you point your voice right at that rock and it transmits to you, it can sound like it's coming from in this area, or it really was coming from in that area, and that's my feeling. And so it was almost like a bird sound calling me out. I responded. It continued to do what it was doing, and it was almost like it was doing within communication. And then ever since we decided to do this, it disappeared. So that's what we got to think about. So now what we could do is we could watch this, and you could see and pay attention and see if you actually think the city comes by and cleans this up, and see if it actually gets cleaned up. You know, if you're in this area, because you see a fair amount of new damage there. You can kind of just tell, like we're talking about, it's a hardcore shelf, man. If that stuff falls, it can end up out here on the road. You know, has the city come by here and cleaned up a truckload or 2 or 3 out of this ditch? You know, how much work have they really done that they're paying attention? And they, you know, a worker come by and he says, you know, boss, I was the guy who cleaned up this area last time, and that cliff thing wasn't looking like that, and there's no rock there. They don't have the imagination to do that. Look at the size of this freaking rock. That very well could have been those shapes right there. That great big guy right there that they haven't hardly worked on. Look, there's hardly any fracking in it. You see that? You know, like, that's given us a great understanding that it doesn't just look like that underneath. That isn't just a normal thing. There's going to be times and places and whatever, of course. But when you get to see a face like that, it looks pretty damn beautiful. Pay attention and start watching the world change. And maybe at the end of the day, they're just filling in the lake, you know. Because I know when I was at the beach over there, I collected up a couple of rocks that I felt were rocks of their fracking nature. You know, you look at their fracked little rocks, and they're really cleaned up. I've kept a couple and practicing doing a couple of videos with those with the sun or something, where it'll really give us some cool sheen, and our imaginations can look at it and see scribe lines and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, remember the history of me talking about scribing lines. A lot of scribing lines. You look at this telephone pole right here. Look at how it's just split to crap. Who knows about me talking about this? You know, some of you guys start doing those kind of things. Like, look at, that's freaking bad. That's really bad. And nobody's knowing it's an issue. Hydro is knowing they're having an issue, but I believe that they think it's the chemicals that they're using on the treating of the poles is failing. Let's go look at this one. Hang on for a bit here, guys, and we'll check out this one, and I'm going to do this little bit of a change here for you. Whoop. If any of my viewers are from the Vernon area, that's where I am right now. One more night. Give me a message on this one. Hook up. Give you a quick lesson or something like that tomorrow before I take off. No problem. My son's cool. Maybe we'd do it on the way home, hook up with you, and then he could be along, and he could start maybe even see how well he involved himself. I'm looking forward to seeing if he's oh, I went past the pole. Got comfortable kind of holding the camera on this kind of an angle like this. So I'm going to do the switch. Here's this pole. Sure you're getting a fair amount of cracking on there. I'm just taking advantage of this position for a moment. Go like that. Do that again. And yeah, so basically this pole here has, I don't know, probably in the upwards of 1,000 splits in it. That one over there had 3 splits that are like huge splits. It's not normal stuff. The rocks, they're splitting, they're cracking. It's not normal stuff. The roads, they're splitting, they're cracking. Rocks are being chipped out of there. Not normal. The person who has been figuring a lot of this stuff out, am finding little rocks with the same patterns of scratch marks and stuff on them. On a table I was sitting at on the other side there, I was supposed to do some taping, videotaping of, my surroundings there. But I didn't end up doing that, which is all fine. But there were a number of things just in that seating area that were all their size, like for sure 100%. And I'm sitting on this picnic table with, when they get to the point where they almost make it so milky on top, the cement, it's just that real sheen and stuff. And then maybe they did even have a coating on this table. But I tell you, first, that's what you can see they were working on the coating. You can see on some levels how they're working through the coating, chipping the coating away. And then you see on other levels where they're chipping into the concrete. I thought I even seen a rock that was in the concrete, in the table, broken. And we're talking about a rock, the small is, just small pebbly rock. So a sandstone sort of thing, or whatever you call that, pebble sand, Sometimes when I'm doing it, I get a little frustrated in my talking, guys. Somebody's left me a message recently saying I gotta play the game better. I gotta play the other people's game and, kind of get into their stuff and so on and so forth. And it's kind of like I keep saying the same thing. I feel like I'm on the subject that I need to be when it comes to these guys. I really get a feeling that I'm awesomely on the subject. Well, knowing that I feel like I'm awesomely on the subject, then why change the game and go on to their subjects that I mostly see a lot of the other people? Not all of them. I'm going to use Christine for an example. She is a great walker, man. She knows where to walk. She knows where they are. She knows how to pick them out. Is she 100% perfect? None of us are 100% perfect, man. These guys got abilities of hiding, of mimicking, of fooling. And guess what? In that mimicking, I talk about a lot of mimicking noises. They also have out their mimicked images. They really do. I believe that they figure out angles of different ways that people will be looking, and they'll put mimicry of looks in amongst those places. And I bet you Memphis Bigfoot has experienced the same thing, same feeling on that. I bet you other people have too, and such like that. See, there's a number of people who have little, you might get me and go, yeah, Tin Man, I'm there. I get you on that. I get you on that. And I get you on that. Why are you kind of saying people aren't like doing the same, like what you're doing on your level or whatever? I'm hearing what you're saying. Nobody's out there preaching the way I preach about the trees, that they're 100% into the trees. They have something going on with the trees where they're farmers of the trees now, today, in our time, and so much into this stuff. We have to come to an understanding whether we think they're behind the fires, the heavy fires. We do. People are going to think I'm just insane with that. Some other people are probably thinking, no, yeah, I agree with you. But there's a lot of people that would be thinking that we're insane with that one. But I'm telling you right now, the amount I get with these beings is they're awesome. They're everywhere in our world. They take care of a lot of stuff. They're part of the ecosystem, how we calculate and understand it. Does it mean they're supposed to be part of the ecosystem? That's what we got to figure out. Like an ant is part of the ecosystem, but at times he could be doing stuff that's devastating to the system somehow, or our parts in it, or something like that. So we study ants. We get answers out of the ants, and we know if they're our friends or not. We figure it out with the hornets. We figure it out with the wasps. We figure it out with everybody. What's going on? Who do we like? Who are we going to chum with continuously? We do it with our kids. So that kid next door, I want you to bring him over so I can meet him. Make sure he's good. Make sure he's not a bad boy. So yeah, that's that. That's life. No more talking. But if I do a little bit of a whoops. So what do we got going on here? This is K, if you're still around, Mr. Schmidt. Yeah, whenever you, okay. Your camera will light focus in the center of the shot always, unless you know how to reset it. Like the photographers. A daylight filter will help you too. Oh, okay. Thank you, you advanced photographer. They sleep during day. Lots of branch breaks there. Oh. Well, you're also a professional. Oh, okay. I see who it is. I can't remember your first name. I apologize. Here we go. I don't know. I just feel like I know I'm going to be being watched 100%. I have absolutely no doubt. I can lose it in I can forget about it all the time. Because it's really become, on certain levels, a super comfort. Where I don't have a problem with them on certain levels. Sounds like he's higher in a tree now. I'm going to check that out. There he is. Could very well just all be about me, that bird. Maybe, maybe not. Oh, it could be, that's the thing that happens lots of times, guys, is you'll notice there's a bird upset somewhere. And you'll be sitting there going, yeah, why? What am I doing? You're like 150 feet away from you. How can I be upsetting you? And you'll get into that thought of it. And then your mind starts rolling the other way and figuring out the good part of who it probably is. I almost started singing Notorious. I think I hear a boat down there. Some music going, and it reminded me of that song. Who's hanging out? If you hear me, did you give me my thumbs up yet? The couple? Let's see if whoever's hanging out for such a long time remembered to give me a thumbs. Looks like they must have. Thank you very much for the support. You know, guys, whoever's out there listening right now, if you enjoy some of my stuff and want to remember, oh, this video is pretty hot, I want to show somebody someday or something like that, then make a... I'm going to do something here. I'm going to go like this. No, I'm not. If you make a, what do you call it, a list just based on my videos, so you put me in a favorites list, there we go. Those favorite lists will actually help me more than a thumbs will. But I appreciate it all. So if you did thumbs up, if you did put me in lists, that kind of stuff, all it does is it twinkles YouTube's thing a little bit more, and more information gets out there, because that's really what I've been, you know, if you really think about, if you know about my history of my dedication to this for 2 years now, you'll understand that there's got to be some passion, drive behind it too. I'm not getting wealthy. Even when I started doing this, I thought to myself, this is a new industry. This is big. Like, there's going to be someday people making a lot of money in this. But that's someday. I'm not the guy who knows how to build that industry. I'm just putting out some awareness. Who knows how much I'll make for just doing awareness stuff, right? I thought I'd just come in and see what these two are up to. See who's bothering them. What's the matter? It can't be me going a long way. Is it the nest there? I seen that nest when I was driving up, but I didn't see anybody hanging at it, so I thought it was a dun nest, but maybe that's their nest. Oh. Well, peace out, guys. Oh, you might have not been seeing the nest. I hope you enjoyed it.